And blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Before we get to our guest from Washington, we'll get to him in 2 seconds. Quickly to Pete in Mountain Home. Pete, I know you are always a quick one, so your thoughts on the Iranian situation.
Yeah, I agree with Hank. You're not going to negotiate with the leaders of Iran. They want to kill Americans. Their chant is death to America, and they mean it. They want to kill everybody who disagrees with them. I would send a message by sending some cruise missiles in and take out their oil refineries, and then I'd send a few more in and take out their substations and drop their power grid and send them back to the Stone Age and see if that fixes things.
So do you agree with the president not shooting at them last week?
Well, he's the commander-in-chief. He knows more than we do about what's going on. If he's got something else lined up, I'm good with that. But bottom line is you're not going to negotiate with those people. I mean, Obama bribed him, $150 billion, and that didn't get us anywhere.
Pete, appreciate the call. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Joining us now, the Deputy Director for Numbers USA. We've seen him on TV. We've interviewed him in Washington. When it comes to numbers and the impact of people coming into the country legally and illegally, there's nobody that knows it more like Chris Smolensky. Chris, good to have you with us again.
Thanks for having me.
We take a look at what's going on the border. Are we in unprecedented territories with the amount of people coming into the country currently illegally?
We're getting there. The numbers were really high in the early 2000s during the second Bush administration. We had a super strong economy. Unemployment was similar to what it's at right now in terms of the official unemployment level. But we have a lot more folks that are working age that are outside the labor market right now than we did back then. But again, the numbers that we're seeing cross the border now, back then we saw it about 1 million cross illegally every single year that were apprehended by Border Patrol. We might give that number a run for its money during the current fiscal year that ends at the end of September.
What is this costing us fiscally?
Yeah, it's costing a lot, and in fact, that's why you've currently got both the House and the Senate are working on separate supplemental spending bills because the agencies that are tasked with dealing with these surges, that includes Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Border Patrol under the Department of Homeland Security, but also Health and Human Services, also deals with this as well because we've got a number of a record level number of family units crossing the border as well as unaccompanied minors, and they're tasked with handling some of those situations. So HHS is actually just about out of money, and ICE and Border Patrol, especially ICE, saw reduced funding in last year's omnibus spending bill. So they're already operating on fewer funds than they normally operate on. But both of them are pretty much out of funding as well, other than just, to keep the lights on and pay the rent and maintain normal staffing levels. They don't have the kind of funding right now to deal with a border surge. So it's going to cost taxpayers more than what we've bargained for. The president's asked for $4.5 billion to address this border crisis. So that puts a little bit of a number on it right there. But that's in addition to the money that they've already received through the normal appropriations funding process.
Boy, that is something. And then you take a look at somehow waving a magic wand and making the DACA people, the DREAM people here legal. Take out the partisanship, but it's more of a money issue that can we afford to do this?
Yeah, it really is. Not only, the folks that are coming across the border illegally, most of them are just being released because we don't have money for detention space anymore, and we don't have enough detention beds to house all the folks coming across the border illegally. So they're just being released, like I said, into the local communities. They're given a notice to appear in court, which could be 3, 4, 5 years down the line. In the meantime, the adults will be working jobs, but in most cases they're working lower skilled, lower wage type jobs. So they're definitely not, if they are paying taxes, they're not paying enough taxes into the system to break even. And if they have kids, the kids are going into public schools, and then they're nowhere near probably covering what they're paying in taxes to cover the burden on taxpayers. And then you brought up DACA. You know, the House passed the DACA amnesty bill just a few weeks ago. The Congressional Budget Office said that it was going to cost American taxpayers $35 billion over 10 years. So these border surges, illegal immigration, it has a huge financial impact on American taxpayers.
And yet, on the other hand, and Numbers USA is all over this, you have Senator Lindsey Graham has his own issue. Of course, that might solve the problem, but that comes at a cost as well, right?
Yeah. So what he's looking to do is he's trying to close up some of these loopholes. So he's introduced a bill that they were actually supposed to mark up yesterday in the Senate. And what his bill would do, again, is it would close up some of these loopholes that are driving this surge. Most notably, some of the things that have been talked about a lot in the press. One of the things that the federal government can't detain minors, anybody under the age of 18, for longer than 20 days. And when you've got close to half of the folks that Border Patrol is apprehending every single month are minors, that has a huge impact if you can't hold them for longer than 20 days. So that's one thing that it closes up. Another thing is that if an unaccompanied minor comes across the border illegally and they're from a country other than Mexico or Canada, we have to put them through this entire huge, massive process where for those that cross the border illegally from just Mexico or Canada, we can just return them back to their home countries. So it also makes a change there, makes a few other tweaks as well to close up the asylum loopholes. So it's a good step forward in trying to deter these border surges that we're experiencing right now. But he actually canceled the markup. As I said, he was supposed to mark up the bill yesterday. He actually canceled the markup because now he's talking with Democrats about not just they would accept in some sort of a border reform bill, but also attaching some sort of an amnesty to it, whether it be DACA or the larger DREAM Act to it as well.
What's the cost, Chris? Do we have any idea what the cost is for the catch and release program on local state communities that have these people just show up?
That's the hard thing. We really don't have a hard number on that. We know roughly how much illegal immigration is costing the country on an annual basis. That's both federal services, state and local services as well. And that's in the hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. But when you've got more than 100,000 people crossing the border, and those are the folks that we know about, those are the ones that are being apprehended by Border Patrol. And Border Patrol has said under congressional testimony that they estimate that they only catch about 50% of those that are crossing. So if we've got 130,000 that they're apprehending every single month crossing the border illegally, that means there's another 130,000 that are crossing undetected. So again, what I had talked about earlier, yes, a lot of them are coming in and they're managing to get jobs on the black market, or they're working for unscrupulous employers who just don't care about following employment laws and just hire these folks anyway. Even though they're not legally authorized to work in the United States, and a lot of them are getting work permits. But the ones that are working, they're usually not working jobs where they're earning enough, where they're paying into the system more than what they're taking out. So we don't know what the financial costs of this ongoing surge is, but again, we know that it's probably going to amount to. We know that the president's looking for $4.5 billion of extra spending money to deal with the crisis, and again, that doesn't consider the impact on local communities for providing health care, providing education for the minors, providing any sort of other services that these folks might need when they get into the country. So we don't have a firm number on it, but it's definitely in the tens of billions that it will cost taxpayers just for the current surge that we're experiencing.
Chris, is there a way that any of this makes fiscal sense? Is there a fiscally responsible solution to this problem?
Well, the most fiscally responsible solution would be to try to deter as much illegal immigration as you possibly can. We think the best way to do that is to require all businesses across the country to use E-Verify. to ensure that they're only hiring legally authorized workers for new jobs, and that they're not hiring illegal workers. You take away the jobs magnet, a lot of these folks aren't going to come up. And we've seen that in interviews from the cable news networks, as well as some members of the mainstream media that have gone down to the border and that have interviewed some of these folks that have crossed the border illegally. They said, we're coming because we know we can get jobs and we can work. Take away the jobs magnet, and that will deter a lot of illegal immigration. But there's a number of other things that we can do. Complete the biometric entry-exit system to track visa overstayers. And we need additional border security. We need more fencing in strategic locations where we tend to see these surges occur. Border Patrol needs more money. Immigration and Customs Enforcement needs more money just to simply enforce immigration laws. And yeah, it involves the federal government spending a lot of money, but it's a lot less to prevent illegal immigration than it is the cost of illegal immigration once they actually get into the country and, again, put their kids into public schools, go and use medical services at hospitals and things like that. We need to provide those sorts of services. We need to take the steps as a country to once and for all try to do our very best at ending illegal immigration. And that's the best way that we can get rid of some of these financial burdens that it's having on taxpayers.
Could we solve it just simply by having a requirement for national E-Verify for all employers?
I think that's part of it. I think that's the biggest piece. Again, what we hear from most illegal border crossers is that they're coming into the country because they know they can get jobs. So if we make it more difficult for them to get jobs, eventually word will spread around Mexico and Central America. Central America is where the bulk of the current illegal border crossers are coming from. Word will spread, and they'll say, hey, you can't get jobs up there anymore, so there's no point in going. So I think that's definitely a significant part of it. The other part of it, of course, is the fact that we have this number that's bounced around that roughly 40% of the illegal alien population in the country now came to the country legally in the first place and just overstayed a visa. And that's why we need the biometric entry-exit system that just when foreign visitors enter the country, we track that they've come in, and then we track when they leave. We don't track them while they're in the country, but we know when they come and we know when they leave, so we know if they've overstayed a visa, and if they've overstayed a visa, then we can track them down inside the interior of the United States. So I think those are the two biggest things. And of course, again, I haven't talked a whole lot about border security, but border security is a piece of it. If you can put barriers in strategic places along the borders where you tend to get these surges, you're going to funnel people to one area, and then you're going to have fewer crossings that you're unaware of, and it'll allow Border Patrol to have 100% awareness of all illegal border crossings, and that will help deter it too, because if they can apprehend everybody rather than just roughly 50%, that'll go a long way too in reducing illegal immigration.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you. We urge people to check out Numbers USA. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
There we have it. Chris Shimolinsky joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up next, some craziness going on in the state of Oregon. In fact, the Oregon governor, Kate Brown, has ordered the Oregon State Police to hunt down and apprehend and haul back Oregon Senate Republicans. We do have rumors that some of the Oregon Senate Republicans have sought refuge here in the state of Idaho. We don't know if they're going to seek permanent asylum, but we consider KIDO Talk Radio a sanctuary radio station. We consider our mission to help these folks. In fact, we've authored the plea to annex the conservative part of the state of Oregon. Doesn't really belong with the libs. Coming up next, why Oregon Republicans, Senate Republicans, are on the run from Oregon Governor Kate Brown. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. There we have it, the subtlety and brilliance of Ray Amaya. If you're a big fan of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, you don't have to look like a refugee. Now, I don't know if we should call the Oregon Republican senators refugees, but they are on the run. 11 Oregon state senators were absent from the Senate floor. This caused Governor Brown, I guess once again, we should make up this segment. Thank goodness we live in Idaho, everybody. Governor Brown now has sent the Oregon State Police to apprehend and hunt them down. We actually have this story on KIDOTalkRadio.com. If you have the app, you'll notice we sent out that app alert last night to let you know about this story. So there's a cap and trade bill that Oregon truck drivers, Oregon people are against because it's going to raise taxes. Now, the libs say, well, it's going to cut down carbon emissions by 50, 60, 80, 90%. Yeah, they're going to tax you out of being able to drive a semi-truck. Right? Now, when people in Idaho say, well, we're pro-business, look, the business lobby would never, ever allow that to happen here in the state of Idaho, thank goodness. But how crazy is it, and we'll have the story for you coming up, that you have the governor of Oregon getting the state police involved to hunt down Republicans. And it's funny, a confession, if I did not have my time with you, I don't even know if I would be on social media. But watching the reaction to the stories, people saying, oh, it's a misleading headline. No, it isn't. They're hunting Republicans in Oregon. Now, we've offered the Oregon senators refuge here, kind of like the old Underground Railroad. If you get to Idaho, you can stay here at the broadcast center. We've got a couch. I've got an air mattress. We have a shower. We have donuts once a week. It won't be so bad. But clearly, decorum and politics has broken down in the Emerald State. What separates Oregon now from a banana republic? That's what they do in the bad countries, not in a state that is in the United States of America. First, they legalize pot, and then they try to arrest Republicans. Is this any way to run a state? KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, traffic and weather together with Kevin Miller in the morning. Hello, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. By the way, coming up, Congressman Fulcher will join us. We'll get the latest on the escalating Iranian situation and China. But before this, here we have the state of Oregon, where we have Senate Republicans on the loose. And we have the governor sending out the police. Look, the police have, well, I guess they don't have a lot to do in Oregon because you've got people legalizing the weed. And back to just a personal aside here. We must be getting close to the people that are really, I guess, big with the drugs. And we can agree to disagree. And, I'm going to start refraining from calling people potheads and dope smokers because I don't really like it's beneath the theme of this program, beneath the mantle of this radio station. And it was brought home to me yesterday when somebody said, well, Kevin Miller, you're a glutinous fatty and you should be ashamed of yourself. And this remark is on the Kevin Miller Show Facebook, and people saying, you're fake news. And look, you can't go on the radio and be mad when people attack you. You can't say you're a victim. You ask for it. And, I think that guy Chris is right. I have been glutinous by being a fatty. And I have no one to blame but myself. And if that makes this person feel better to personally insult me because of something that I feel I can control and have lost control of, so be it. And gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins. I'm sitting there looking at it going, wow, this guy, because we have the courage to say, I don't think that legalizing marijuana is the right move. The article I'm referring to on the Kevin Miller Show Facebook page is from Drug Free Idaho. They've linked to a story where CBD oil, at least a study or something like that, I just know the headline, there's some concerns about cancer there. I digress. Quickly to Lee Joe with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Kevin, I just wanted to let those state senators know that when Governor Brown has a political difference with somebody and they're peaceful, she sends the state police after them and they end up dead. So watch, like Lavoy Finicum. So just they need to flee to Idaho and stay here and until she's voted out or something. No quorum for Oregon, period. They're risking their lives, literally, almost. So watch that woman.
Well, that's why we've offered them a place to stay here at the broadcast center where we have a shower. I'm sure we can get food donated. And to tell Kate Brown, you're not the boss of us, and how embarrassing for the state of Oregon that the governor is ordering the state police to hunt down Republicans.
But she has a record of killing her political opponents. So that's literally the truth.
Well, I don't know about that.
That's Lavoy Finicum. You remember?
I remember Lavoy Finicum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the FBI, though, wasn't it?
I was the state trooper that shot him.
Duly noted,
right,
Lee Joy. Watch your 6, would you?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling on the right side. Blessed to be with you. Let's get to your phone calls. Craig in Boise. Good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Living the dream, sir.
Right. I was reading about Oregon a bit, and I was reading there's actually a GoFundMe page because the governor is basically suspending them without pay, supposedly. So there's a GoFundMe page to actually reimburse the senators for doing what they believe is, it appears to be, in Oregon, you would think civil disobedience for a cause with, catchphrases like the left uses, like, by any means necessary, would be seen as a popular move. But I guess if you're on the conservative side in Oregon, it's seen as at least by some of the people, as a abdication of duty and, betrayal of the citizens and all this other stuff.
Well, how embarrassing that we have the governor issuing the police the instructions to go get him.
I would agree. I mean, I would think she would probably, well, if she was thinking, which I don't think she is much, she would think, maybe there's an issue here that I could address. Maybe there's something that we need to discuss other than my opinion and my self-will. But I don't think there's a lot of there, as Sylvia Plath said about Oakland a long time ago.
Huh. Craig, thank you.
All right. Well, take care, Kevin. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, brother. Pro-Life joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning. Pro-Life? Pro-Life.
Kevin, you still there?
Man, you almost got the boot.
Oh, man, I hit the wrong button. But anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, Kate Brown, yeah, it was a state trooper that killed Lavoy Finicum, and she claims to be a bisexual, but she's been married to the same guy for her whole life, and I'll bet she can't produce one person that she's had bisexual sex with. She's just a big liar for political reasons. And
wait a minute, she's married, but she says she's
married.
How would you define that? Both sides of the plate?
Well, of course,
like a lefty and a righty kind of thing?
Yeah, but see, it's popular over there west of the Cascades to be a total sexual deviant. It's popular to be bisexual or gay or transgender or something. So she's playing that card. I don't think she has ever had bisexual sex. She needs to prove that.
I don't know. Well, you would like her to prove that, then that she would be committing adultery if she would be married, right?
Yeah, well, of course, but that's fine with them, those kind of people. But anyway, I want to comment on the numbers guy. The only solution is not what he's saying, E-verifying all this kind of stuff. The solution is that you just put military, National Guard, whatever it takes, all the way across the whole border. Now, Liberty Linda and I, we're the only ones saying that kind of stuff that I've heard on your radio station, and not let anybody in and not have anybody to be able to claim asylum, they have to do that in some other country at one of our embassies or consulates. That's the solution. If you just close it all down right away, then it's all over with. And I can't
Well,
believe
the Democrats won't let the president do that.
What are they going to do, impeach him? They're going to impeach him anyway. That's what he needs to do. That's the reason to get impeached, right there.
Well, you're all about impeaching.
Yeah, I am. And that's the total solution right there. And anybody that says something different, it isn't going to work. It's just going to be some modification of the same system right now. So, hey, if we don't stop killing our babies and messing around with people of the same sex, we're in big trouble. So,
Duly noted.
yeah. And you've got the best radio station anywhere around.
What radio station is that?
That's 580 KIDO.
And our
No.
affiliate, 107.5 FM.
Oh, that's right. I never listen there because out here it's too weak in the country.
We get that a
But
lot.
anyway, what's that?
We get that a lot, but I'm glad that you, this is your favorite radio station.
Yeah, it is. And you're one of my favorite. You're my favorite radio guy.
Well,
And,
I appreciate that.
Because you don't buy this. I don't care what's going on in somebody else's bedroom. That is not right. No conservative radio guy should ever say that.
I agree.
All right.
But
That's
in
like
reality,
What?
there aren't any conservative people in the media except us, if you're telling the truth. In this
if you're
area.
telling the truth, you're right.
Yeah.
That's
Pro-life,
exactly right.
yeah, it's true. I mean, if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, then you speak your mind, and we just, wish everybody the best, but we behave as we say, and we believe what we say. So God bless you, pro-life.
Yeah, and you can say Jesus Christ is God on your station, and nobody gets after you.
Not on the Kevin Miller Show. Thank you, sir.
All right. See you.
The minority party in Oregon State Senate is a no-show. Republican senators decided not to show up to work Thursday to protest a cap-and-trade bill aimed at fighting climate change. Without them, the Senate was 2 members short of the number needed to hold a vote, according to Senate President Peter Courtney.
The Sergeant of Arms reported to me that they have been unable to locate any state senator.
This is the second time this session Senate Republicans held up a vote by not showing up. And Courtney was distraught as he said he asked the governor to use state troopers to compel senators to return to the Capitol.
This is the saddest day of my legislative life. Don't do this to this branch. You're too good. You've been chosen. I'm begging you to come back. I don't want to send the state police.
We are effectively.
On Wednesday, there was even more drama when Republican State Senator Brian Boquist of Dallas threatened Courtney before apologizing.
If you don't think these boots are for walking, you're flat wrong, Mr. President. And you send the state police to get me, hell's coming to visit you personally.
And I understand that people are very upset right now about a lot of things.
And more on that in a minute. Kevin Miller here. That's the reports coming out of Portland, Oregon, where you have the state police looking to apprehend and bring back Republican state senators. And then you had, the Senate Majority Leader begging them to come back and then saying, I don't want to do this. And then going to Governor Kate Brown and saying, go get them, boys. Look, we love the police. I'm sure the police would be much better off going after the bad people. But Governor Brown, she has her issues, and she wants these folks apprehended. Let's take a listen on KIDO Talk Radio.
Operations and tactics of the Oregon State Police. You can touch base with their communications director. They will provide you with that information. I'm focused on making sure we move forward and tackling global climate change.
So there we have it. Thank goodness that we live in the great state of Idaho. Thank goodness that we have Brad Little as our governor, that we don't have to have the government going after the minority party. And thanks to the research of Ray Amaya, Scott Brown, Governor Brown in Wisconsin, there was a similar situation of this as well. You've also got other folks that have had to deal with this. And in Oregon, I believe in 2011, there was something involved in this as well. I'm sorry, Governor Walker of Wisconsin, not Scott Brown of Massachusetts. It's also confusing. But this is embarrassing. And if you're Governor Brown and, you know, they're talking about impeaching the president, maybe they should impeach Governor Brown. Maybe they should have a recall there. I don't know. I know Oregon has a nice coast. They've legalized the weed. And, you know, Ducks are a pretty good football team. But besides that, I don't know really much about that state. We live in Idaho. But we are offering people that if they need a place to stay. By the way, thank you, Craig. I need to get that link up about the GoFundMe page to help these guys on the run. But this sounds like something that would happen in Central or South America, where the leader of the dominant political party would order these folks. And here's the deal. They don't want cap and trade. They don't want their gas taxes going up. They don't want the trucking and the timber industry to be run out of business, to be spent out of business. Is that asking too much? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's get your calls next on the Oregon situation. And what would happen if that happened here? I don't know if the state police would actually do that. Maybe the state police should say, look, that's an unconstitutional order. We're not going to follow it. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And here we are talking about the great state of Oregon. How embarrassing, the governor of the state of Oregon issuing an edict to the state police. Go get the Republican lawmakers. Go get them, and bring them back to me. Is this any way to run a state? Brad Little must be just looking there going, man, maybe I'll issue another press release on the amount of regulations I've cut. And it's fascinating when you take a look at Governor Little and his leadership style. Very much letting the issues speak for themselves, doesn't go out there, not very polarizing, kind of a get along, go along kind of guy. That's a compliment, Governor Little. You take a look at what's going on in Oregon, where you have a complete breakdown of the legal system. What are they going to be teaching kids in schools? Hey, the governor doesn't like the Republicans, so the police have to go get them. And can you imagine being an Oregon State Trooper? It's a pretty prestigious position. Okay, you put your life on the line each and every day. It's tough enough dealing with the bad guys. Then all of a sudden, you've got to deal with the politicos. So let's say you find somebody in Ontario, they haven't crossed to freedom. They haven't crossed to freedom-loving Idaho, right? They haven't crossed the Great Divide. And so, State Senator Miller, yes, sir, we have orders to bring you in. Put your hands over your head. You're coming with us. I mean, do they arrest them? Do they detain them? Police officers are very focused on what they do. You give them a job, you give them a mission, and they do it. Are they going to sit in the front seat or the back? Are they going to be detained like with the cuffs? And what if they're packing? Will they be disarmed? Kind of crazy. Got to give it to the Senate Republicans, though. Hey, man, you're not the boss of us. We don't agree with this. We're not going to have a quorum. We're out. And I believe they can be fined up to $500 a day. More details on that story at KIDOTalkRadio.com. A couple other things that, one, very disturbing, one, invigorating. People are growing horns. No, it's not audio bait or clickbait. Apparently, some people are growing horns. If that's not a sign of the end times, I don't know what is. How about this one? Cell phones have changed the face of technology, but they could also be changing our skulls. It's true. Researchers in Australia say that constant cell phone use is causing horn-like spikes to grow at the back of young people's skulls. horn-like spikes at the back of your skull. Time to get off the phone, Junior. Now, what are they? Horns? According to the scientists in Australia, they tell KIDO Talk Radio the horns are actually bone spurs that biometric researchers have studied and say that constantly having the neck tilted forward to look at our phones shifts the weight of the head from the spine to the skull, causing these callus-like growths to occur. How many times have you heard from your mom, your grandma, your dad, whomever, you keep doing that, you're going to have horns growing out of your head? Literally, they are. Now, the horns, it's true, can be dangerous if not addressed. It can cause terrible headaches. Well, of course, man, you're going to have horns on your head. And back pain. Now, if you want to avoid getting horns from the cell phone use, the researchers strongly urge you to be mindful of your posture, those of you that have posture. Keep a straight back and no slouching to look at that text message. What will they think of next? Now, a lot of people say it's not about cell phone use. It's about the end times. The choice is yours. Traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And Kevin Miller in the morning. If you're tired of the porch package pirates, well, one state has a new law, and maybe, you know, I love what we should do each and every morning. We should come up with suggestions for our lawmakers. Hey, ACHD, what's up with all the lane closings? Well, we've got to do that for the roads. Yeah, the roads still don't work, right? Hey, Idaho legislators, out of session. How about repealing that grocery tax? How about doing something about the excessive property tax, where you have people that have paid off their homes but still might lose them because of the taxes going up, 64% in a year? Huh, right? Is that the type of state you want to live in? Well, here's something that is more grounded, more concrete, more relatable. Back to the porch package pirates, Texas has passed a new law. If you're tired of people ripping off your packages, maybe this is something that the Idaho legislature, in its infinite wisdom, should consider, and Governor Little should sign into law. It's the first of its kind in the nation. A Texas law taking aim at serial porch package pirates, making the crime a felony. You think about, you know, we have so many great contributors that drive delivery, whether it's UPS, DHL, FedEx, whomever. I always want to thank that young man when we were at Ed's 50s Cafe that bought my breakfast for me. He drives every day. I understand, sir. We try each and every day to give you something good to listen to. Hopefully we succeed more than we fail. So most laws base a crime's severity on the value of the stolen items. This new Texas law gauges the charge on the number of crimes that have been committed. Thieves who steal packages from more than 50 people will be charged with a first-degree felony. 20 to 50 thefts net a second-degree felony, and less than 10 is a state felony. Ooh. The law covers all delivered items, including mail, regardless of what is left. Once the law goes into effect, people caught stealing packages will face anywhere from 6 months to 10 years in prison, and you're going to get fined from $4,000 to $10,000. Now people are saying, is this a good idea? Yeah. And people are saying, you know, people steal my stuff all the time. Now, I know what you're saying. Kevin, we don't have enough room in the jails. Canyon County Jail overflowing, Ada County Jail overflowing. You're right. But that doesn't mean we let people get away with stealing stuff. It's always, of course, unless you're the one that they stole it from, right? You steal something, that should be a felony, whether it's on your porch or they break into your home. Maybe the Idaho legislature, no, we're going to get rid of the qualifier. Let's give the Idaho legislature something to do. Maybe we should call it the Bill of Suggestions. Do your job. Boy, that's easier said than done, isn't it? Good morning.